Hey everyone, this is Devan, and today I want to make a quick video talking about the new PlayStation PS Plus premium service. PlayStation had just announced this yesterday, and there's been quite a bit of backlash since then, and I want to break this down into two different categories, from the consumer perspective and from the business perspective. From the consumer perspective, a lot of people are disappointed that PlayStation is not bringing new AAA first party titles to the service day and date. And this, I understand. I understand that disappointment because Xbox is doing it with their Game Pass service, and people want the same sort of treatment for the PlayStation Plus service. And they should ask for this. This is something that consumers should ask for. This is something that they should voice that their opinion, that this is something that they want, and hopefully eventually Sony would listen. I would personally love it if I could play games like Horizon Forbidden West and God of War Ragnarok day one, just bundled into that subscription service, and it'll just stay on there and not leave that service. So this one I understand. I also really fully support the backlash with the PS3 cloud streaming situation that we're in. I was really just hoping that they figure out a way to emulate the PS3 on the PS5 and allow us to play it off of the cloud service. The Xbox compatibility with the 360 games it has is absolutely fantastic. Stuff like the Sonic games are just completely revived now, and we have nothing of the sort for PlayStation 5. And just some of the games on the PS3 that you could stream on the cloud would just work so well and fit some of the gaps that the PS5 has right now, like the lack of arcade racers. So they could use things like the MotorStorm to kind of fill those gaps that we're kind of seeing in the PS5 library. So those things I understand. It's something that people should feel comfortable voicing their opinions and demanding, and I fully agree with those. But now let's move on to the business side of things, and this is where I have the most disagreement with some of the backlash that I've seen. People are saying that this is a bad business move for PlayStation. This is they're going to be left behind, and they are making the wrong choice by going about their PS Plus service in this manner. And this is where I just disagree, because the way people are looking at this, I find, is as if the only way to make money is through subscription services, which, at least in Sony's case, they just don't find that to be the case. Microsoft might see it that way. They want to grow Game Pass as much as possible, and their metric for success is really looking at Game Pass and the amount of Game Pass subscribers. But here, PlayStation has explained to us they just don't see subscription as the primary sole method of them getting their revenue. They see it from selling consoles and getting that 30% commission from royalties from the games that are being sold on the PS Store. And they're also just getting it from just directly selling their first party titles, which do extremely well, and that they're able to get to a lot of people on their platform. So saying that, okay, just because this PS Plus service is not going to be as good as Game Pass, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad business decision. That's just not the way I see it. And saying things like they're going to be left behind and they'll have no chance of catching up to Game Pass unless they push all of their first party titles into this PS Plus service right away. Like right when June starts, we're gonna get like Horizon Forbidden West, and then people want them to put Ragnarok on, and if they don't do that, then Game Pass is just gonna fly away and leave Sony in the dust. And people are also referencing this quote from Michael Pachter, where he was like saying that Sony as we know it will not be there anymore 10 years from now, because they just can't compete with Game Pass. So this is something that I don't get, because right now what they're doing by consolidating the PS Now and PS Plus and putting it into one package is making it so that they have that one subscription service that they could promote, which they really need to do, because PS Now was never able to escape that perception that it's just a service about streaming PS3 games. So now they got rid of that problem, and now they have this service that they could do whatever they want. if they see that Microsoft is really just killing it, and that they're just filling their Game Pass with like all these games, and it's just too irresistible that people are just switching from PlayStation to Xbox to get that Game Pass, well then they could start dropping more first party titles into their service. It's not really something that they have to respond to right now. Like, if we think of it, Microsoft doesn't, or Xbox doesn't really I don't think that they're at the point where they want to be when it comes to the content release cycle in their Game Pass subscription. I think they really want one AAA first party title every quarter, and then to also fill that up with AAA third party titles, or AA or big indie titles in between those quarters, to really get a steady flow of content. And they're definitely building up to that, and what they have now is great. Like, don't make any mistake. What they have is great, but they're not there yet. And I think PlayStation, they just have more time to kind of get their feet wet in this whole subscription thing. And I think with time, as Microsoft continues to improve their service, then yeah, it will force Sony's hand, hopefully, to bring their games day and date into the service. So another thing that was talked about a lot is this quote from Jim Ryan saying that the Sony first party titles could suffer if they come to PS Plus day one. And a lot of people are taking this as a slight against Xbox because they're bringing all their first party titles day one, or they're saying this as if like it's just not true. And it could be true for PlayStation now. It could just be that, hey, look, they have a different model than Xbox, and they're just a completely different company. It could be that they just can't afford to take the same kind of risks as Xbox can, because Xbox really has a bigger backing from Microsoft, and it's just a generally bigger company than Sony. So that doesn't mean that it could that it can't change in the future. There could definitely be another time where it will be more appropriate for Sony to bring their first party titles to the PlayStation PS Plus service day and date, and we could only hope for that. So those are my thoughts on the whole Backlash and the drama. As for what I'm going to do, I think I'm just going to stick with the normal base PS Plus subscription. I've already kind of built up a huge backlog just from buying games on sale, and a lot of what's in PS Now doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for me. I already kind of own a bunch of the games, but who knows, if they start bringing in more games day and date, like a lot of people are predicting that they're going to bring in a lot more live service games on day one, then maybe I'll think about subscribing to the higher tiers. Now, that doesn't mean that I think that the higher tiers are a ripoff. I think that if you don't have a lot of these older games already, then I do think that it is some good value. It just may not be the same kind of value as Game Pass, but it doesn't make it like some sort of a ripoff, or it doesn't mean that Sony is like trying to fleece you of your money or anything like that. I don't think it's really that bad at all. So those are my thoughts. Let me know in the comments, what's your thoughts on this whole thing? What tier are you going to subscribe to, if any at all? And how do you think this will impact Sony in the future? My name is Devan. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and thank you for listening.